You ever hear the whispers in these walls, brother? This prison breathes secrets. If you listen long enough, you'll hear them crawling through the cracks, like rats in the dark. Some men in here, they're not just inmates. They're living shadows, carrying the kind of ghosts that make your skin crawl. I remember one man, a man whose very name carried a curse. James Earl Ray. To the world outside, he was branded as the assassin who took down Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., the man who killed a dream. But in here, he wasn't a headline. He wasn't a monster carved in stone. He was just another convict, quiet, pale, almost invisible. The kind of man you wouldn't notice in a crowd. And maybe that's what made him so dangerous. Now, don't get me wrong. I ain't here to wash his sins or paint him as innocent. But I saw him. I heard him. I felt the weight of his silence echoing through these cells. And if you've got the stomach for it, I'll tell you his story. James was born back in 1928 in a small Missouri town to a family already drowning in poverty. His old man, George, was a crook, always running little hustles, dodging the law, moving the family from place to place like gypsies chased by fire. You could say crime ran in his blood, not by choice, but by survival. By the time James was a teenager, he was already dipping his hands into the dirt. Petty thefts, small burglaries, drifting from job to job. He never lasted anywhere. The world chewed him up, and he swallowed bitterness like cheap whiskey. But let me tell you something strange. He wasn't the loud, tough kind of criminal. He wasn't the guy starting fights in the yard. No, Ray was different. Cold. Silent. Always watching. Like he was learning, studying people, memorizing every weakness. He went into the army during World War II, but even there he didn't fit. He wasn't a hero, he wasn't a soldier people remembered. He was just there. A shadow in uniform. And when he came back, the world hadn't changed for him. No medals, no glory. Just the same emptiness waiting for him. That's when the real trouble started. Armed robberies, stick-ups, heists gone wrong. By 49, he was already locked up in Missouri for a hold-up. And trust me, the first time he walked into a prison cell, it wasn't his last. See, Ray had this habit, he couldn't stay locked down. Prison walls weren't built to hold him. He escaped once in the 60s, crawling out of Missouri State Penitentiary like a rat slipping through a crack. Nobody expected it, but that's what made him dangerous. He was patient. He could wait. And here's the part most people don't know. During those years on the run, James Earl Ray wasn't just hiding. He was moving like a ghost across states, using fake names, drifting through cheap motels, picking up odd jobs. But the thing that sticks with me? He always carried books with him. Always reading. Obsessed with self-improvement, hypnosis, even weird political ideas. He wasn't just running from the law, he was feeding something inside his head. Now, you might be asking, why does any of this matter? Why should we care about some lowlife crook drifting through life? Because it was during those years, in the shadows, that James Earl Ray became something else. Something the world would one day remember with horror. I'll never forget the way he looked at me once, through the bars. His eyes weren't wild, they weren't angry. They were empty. Like a man who already knew how his story would end. And that's what scares me most, brother. Not rage. Not madness. But emptiness. You want to know how that emptiness turned into the bullet that took down Dr. King? Patience. That part of the story ain't for tonight. Because before James Earl Ray ever pulled the trigger, he walked into a darkness so deep, it swallowed him whole. And some say, he never walked